His eyes were bloodshot, shining with unshed tears. There was a sad, lost look about him that crumpled my heart. There were some wrapped cookies and brownies on display. I grabbed a cookie, paid for it, and asked for a pen. I flattened the cookie's receipt on the countertop and scribbled, "Hope this cheers you up." In low tones, I asked a favor of the cashier to send the cookie and a note over to the man after I had left, the heartbroken one in the corner. He was easy to spot. I left and thought nothing more of it. Dwelling on it would give me anxiety. Like, what if he was crying from a breakup and the cookie resembled what his ex used to make for him and made him sadder? Or what if his mom just passed and that was his mom's favorite cookie? Best not to imagine the consequences. Just hope for the best and move on. The next time I was at the cafe, it was the same cashier. She took my order and then hesitated. She seemed to want to say something to me, but she didn't and turned away after a moment. I went home after getting my triple shot coffee. Lots of work to do and I hadn't had enough sleep. The triple shot worked magic. I finished the entire day's work by 3 p.m. and had time to tend to my plants. I repotted the 2 new babies my aloe vera plant had birthed. They were the 26th and 27th aloe vera babies. The mother plant was beyond fertile. I had to find a way to rehome them. My house was turning into a jungle of aloes. I was placing some of the pots outside my corner apartment when I shuddered, for no good reason. I turned around, looked down the corridor. No one was there. But the feeling of being watched continued. I quickly put up the handwritten sign, "Free aloe vera plants, help yourself," by the pots of aloe veras. Then I restocked the canned drinks I kept outside next to a sign that said, "Thanks for the delivery, please help yourself to a drink," and went back in. I didn't leave my home until after dinner time. I had a quick dinner out, got back, and noticed a little scratch on my door, around where the latch was. I must have scratched it with my keys at some point. I headed in, showered, and went to watch a movie in bed. It wasn't a horror movie, but something felt off. The energy of my house felt off. There was a weird, almost viscous tension in the air. Then again, I had been pretty stressed in the past week. That was probably it. I watched a rom-com, then 2, then 3, until I fell asleep. I woke up to my alarm the next day. I reached out from under my covers to switch it off. For once, I hadn't kicked the blanket off in the middle of the night. I usually woke up slightly freezing because of that. I skipped going to the cafe for my morning coffee. I was running up my bills. Instant coffee was going to be the norm for a while. A text popped up on my phone screen from an unidentified number.
Good morning. Hope you enjoyed the breakfast at your door.
I raised an eyebrow and headed to my door. Sure enough, there was a takeaway meal at my door. I smiled. It was probably my bestie. She did random surprises like this once in a while. "Thanks, Julie," I replied. She had probably texted from the new work phone she had just got. I was taking a bite of the pancake I found in the box when my phone vibrated again.
Who is Julie?
Read the text. I opened my mouth and let the bite of pancake fall out. "Who are you?" I replied. No response. I texted Julie on her personal phone. It only took a few minutes to respond. It wasn't her. The breakfast wasn't from her. I threw it out, heart thumping.
Did you not like it?
Came the text. I shrieked a little. I had thrown it into the bin at home. "Who are you? How are you doing this?" I texted. I hesitated for a moment, and then I locked myself in my bedroom and called the police. To the police's credit, they reacted fast. I told them I believed someone might be in my home and they were here in minutes. They found no one. I told them what had happened, and they began to search for electronic devices. They found 2. A camera plopped into one of my plants, one of which showed the view of my living room and part of my kitchen. Another camera was in my bedroom, a tiny thing half hidden behind the knickknacks on my bedside table. They were battery-powered cameras with their own Wi-Fi. The battery could last for weeks, apparently. I didn't even know they made cameras like those. I felt sick, like a cold creature had crawled inside my skin and settled itself among my innards. I told the police about the scratch on my door. They concluded that someone had picked my lock. The police asked a lot of questions about exes, people I could have offended, and any creepy colleague or person in my life. I couldn't think of anyone. There just wasn't much drama in my life up to that point. I couldn't imagine anyone I knew going to such lengths to spy on me. The police left after dusting around for fingerprints. I didn't know they still did that. They said they would investigate, compare the prints to mine to check for any strangers' prints. They didn't have the manpower to leave a protective detail or to provide any form of protection. I've just got to be careful and change my lock. Get a better one. They would investigate the number from the text and the recording devices, too. I got the lock changed in a day. I got the most heavyweight lock there was, one the seller claimed could not be picked. I installed surveillance cameras outside my apartment, too, for good measure. I didn't install any in my home. I was paranoid about people hacking the feed to spy on me. I've never liked the idea of being recorded in my own home. I was just about feeling a little safer and somewhat back to normal when I received another text from another unknown number.
I'm not trying to hurt you. Please don't be scared of me. I love you.
I called the investigator in charge of my case. They told me to screenshot it and send it over, and I did that once I hung up. Another text.
How could you do that to me?
I froze. How did he know? Were there more cameras? Did he bug my phone? My phone vibrated again.
I told you I loved you. Why did you call him?
I left the house, headed straight to the police station. I was about to head in when another text popped up.
Don't you dare go in there. That will make me really mad.
I went in anyways. Met with the officers in charge. They sent me home accompanied by an officer and told me to stay home as much as possible and try to be accompanied by friends or family who went out. Then they left, after a sweep around my floor to make sure no one was around. I was on the edge the next few days. Sleepless. No amount of checking the door lock made me feel better. I ordered delivery for all my meals. Didn't step 1 foot out the door. I made the delivery guys leave the food at the door and opened it only when I was sure they had gone. It was when my coffee from my favorite cafe arrived that I remembered the cashier, that strange look she had on her face. It was right before all of this started. I took a taxi straight to the cafe. I wasn't going to risk being out longer than I needed to be. I got lucky. The same cashier was working at the counter. I approached her, and her eyes widened. I looked down and realized what a mess I looked. I hadn't showered in days. I was wearing food-stained home clothes. My hair was straggly and messy. I remembered the last time I looked in the mirror. Black circles around my eyes, face pale. Suddenly self-conscious, I smoothed my hair as well as I could and spoke as calmly as I could manage. You. The last time I saw you, you looked like you wanted to tell me something. She stared at me for a while, confusion apparent on her face. She didn't remember me. I tried to remember our past interactions, anything that would stand out. I got that cookie for that guy, I said, the memory popping up. Her eyes widened further, and her lips parted.
Oh, you.
She looked me up and down, a crease forming between her brows.
I wanted to tell you that, well...
Tell me.
The guy you got a cookie for, he kept asking about you. He wanted to know who bought him the cookie. Wanted footage from our surveillance cameras. We denied him that, of course. But then he guessed it was you. He had noticed you in your red sweater, and he just kind of camped out here every day. Until that day when you came in. I wanted to tell you that. Well, I thought maybe...
She trailed off and bit her lip. The cookie guy? The guy who looked sad? She nodded.
When you came in again, I saw him light up. I wanted to warn you, but I thought maybe it was nothing. I didn't want to make a fuss over nothing, and... Well, when you left, he followed you out. I told my manager, but he told me to stay out of it, and I did.
Of course. The man with the cookie. How had I not put it together until that moment? How did I not suspect him? I thought of the cashier, but not the dude I bought the cookie for? I called the police again. The cashier panicked, said she didn't want to be involved, but I looked her dead in the eye and told her that I was in danger, that I needed her help. She relented. We headed to the police station together. She gave her statement. We both gave descriptions of the man. By the time I headed home, I had a new message from yet another unknown number.
You've done it now. You need to be punished.
I gritted my teeth and fought the powerful urge to fling my phone against the wall. Screw you! I texted back. Not at all what the police had advised I should do. I downloaded a VPN and an antivirus software right after. Nothing much had happened over the next several days. By the time a week had passed, I thought that maybe my stalker had given up. Still, every night, I checked that the door was securely locked, that the alarm system was up, and went to my bedroom and locked that door too. I got called to the police station again, but they didn't have anything significant to update. They just reviewed the evidence I had given them in my statements. It was a waste of time. I got home around 3 p.m. and spammed movies until I fell asleep, before the sun had even set. I was awoken by someone calling. It was Julie, on a video call. She had been calling daily to check on me since I first realized someone had broken into my place.
Hey!
Her cheerful voice was a ray of sunshine. Hey, Jules, I smiled. She said something in response, but it was all jumbled up. Her image froze on screen. I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi sucks in my room. Hold on, I said and walked out to the living room. We chatted for a while, and when she realized I wasn't feeling okay, we said our goodbyes, with her promising to check on me again tomorrow. I was still smiling after we hung up. Julie's beyond awesome. I wanted to let her know how grateful I was, so I used a filter app to take a funny selfie video with me saying thank you with an animal snout and ears. I was giggling away, choosing the funniest animal filter to use, when the nose and ears of a cat filter flew from my face to somewhere behind me. I caught a glimpse of a small face in the background where the cat filter had detected it for just a split second. It dove out of sight. My blood froze in my veins. I switched the app off and called the police while dashing for the door. I had just unlocked the door when a flurry of footsteps thudded rapidly towards me. I turned just in time for someone to snatch the phone from my hands. It took me a moment to recognize him. It was indeed the heartbroken man from the cafe, the one I had bought a cookie for. Before I could say a word, he had hung up and flung the phone far from me. I screamed with all my soul. He leapt towards me, tackled me to the ground. I landed hard on my back, head bouncing off the floor. I was stunned, breath knocked out of me. He covered my mouth and pulled out a knife.
Why did you force my hand? Why are you making me do this? We could have been happy together,
He said. He began to drag me, hands still covering my mouth. I was too winded and dazed by the blow to my back and head to do anything more than struggle weakly. When he dragged me around the corner to where my bedroom was, I tried to hold onto the wall, but he was too strong. He pulled me free and tugged me down the corridor to my room. And then I heard a knock on the door. I tried to scream again, but he pressed his hand hard over my mouth and held the knife to my throat. I stopped flailing. We were still for a long time, his knife digging into the skin of my throat. There wasn't another sound from the door. Whoever it was must have left. My one hope shattered. After another agonizing minute, he turned me towards him, hand still over my mouth. I took in great gulps of air as he gazed at me sadly.
I love you. I just want us to be together.
He looked down at his knife.
Nothing ever works out for me. We'll just have to be together. In the next life.
My eyes widened. What? He stroked my cheek with the back of his hand, the hand that was holding the knife.
You love me too, right? There was something. You felt it. That's why you bought me the cookie.
Oh, that cookie. Screw me for ever having wanted to do something nice for someone.
Now they know what I look like. They think I want to hurt you. They're trying to take me away. We can only be together. In death. In our next place.
No. I shook my head at him. If he would uncover my mouth, I could lie. Tell him whatever he needed to hear. He gently placed the knife against my throat.
You know I have to do this. For us.
How did this guy get this intense, this obsessed, this insane, in such a short amount of time? Over what? A cookie? I tried to yell at him to stop, but he wouldn't move his hand from my mouth. And then I saw it. A movement behind him, from around the corner. A face peered from behind the wall, wearing a nervous expression. When he caught the sight of my stalker looming above me, his eyes widened with fear. Then he held up a finger to his mouth, nodded at me, and disappeared from sight. Yes. Salvation. If my savior moved fast enough.
It's really been so amazing. Our time together. Until you went yet again to the police station. I thought we had worked things out. I thought you...
The other man, my savior, charged out from around the corner, a glass bottle in his hand. My stalker leapt up, turned just as the other man swung a bottle at his head. The stalker caught the man's arm and jabbed his knife at the man's midsection. The man twisted out of harm's way and leapt back. My stalker pounced, landing on the man, and they tumbled out of my sight. I pushed myself up to a seated position, ignoring the dizzying sensations that flooded me as I straightened. Behind the wall, there were thuds, clatters, and grunts. I had just forced myself to stand when there was a loud cry, and then silence. Blood roaring in my ears, I took a step towards where the scuffle had ended, and then hesitated. Someone groaned, and there were the sounds of someone getting to his feet. I backed towards my bedroom door. I had just stepped into my bedroom and was about to slam the door shut when someone appeared around the corner. I began to sob. It was the other man, my savior. The police arrived soon after. My savior was a delivery guy. He had delivered my lunch the day before and had taken a pot of aloe vera and a drink from my stash outside the apartment. He had been doing another delivery nearby and wanted to drop by to leave a note thanking me for the aloe vera plant and the drinks. He had just left the note and was about to leave when he heard me scream. He had hesitated to enter, but he said there was something in my scream that told him something was very wrong. He had called the police and then, unable to do anything, entered my home. I had never been more grateful for my aloe vera's fertility. The idea to give away the plants, and the Instagram reel that had suggested doing an act of kindness for a stranger, however small it was. Then again, it was that same reel that started me down the path of being someone who would buy someone else a cookie. The police later informed me that my stalker, after following me home, breaking in and installing the cameras that were found, had engineered a new way of accessing my home. He had simply climbed up 2 floors from a tree branch to a pipe to the air conditioning unit outside my window, and unlocked my windows by sliding in some thin piece of metal and pushing the latch up. He had been sleeping under my bed on some of the past days. Others he had spent in my closet. The entire time I had thought staying home would keep me safe, but he was right in my home with me. He had even been covering me up with my blanket at night. The police found out more about him. He had been heartbroken when I first saw him because the previous woman he had been obsessing over and stalking had moved out. She had just upped and gone one day, and he had no idea where she went. Probably out of state. After I bought him the cookie, he had decided that fate had intervened, that he had lost the previous woman because he was destined to be with me. He had created an intricate story in his mind about how I had loved him from first sight, that I was battling my feelings when I called the cops, when I removed his cameras, lots of stuff like that. I felt sick listening to the report. Anyway, after the police arrested him, after they had taken my statements that day, and after I felt I had poured enough gratitude out towards my savior, I didn't want to be home. I went to a hotel to stay for a few nights, one with impeccable security. A few days there, and I felt safer. Knowing my stalker was in jail gave me a peace of mind I hadn't had in the past weeks. I had just exited the hotel to go for breakfast with Julie when someone holding a few pieces of luggage stopped at the door, struggling to open it with their elbows. The doorman was nowhere to be seen. I turned back to help, and then paused. I pulled my hood up, lowered my head so my face was covered, and stepped forward to hold the door open for the lady. I ignored her thanks, kept my face carefully hidden, and then slipped away before she could get a good look at me. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. A quick shout out to my patrons, Old Penguin, Rinku Star, Melissa Perez, Icy Narrates, Seven Cities Journalist, Cupcake Hips, Eric Cifuentes, Alonso, Austin My Love, Ellie Hutmeyer, Jesse Hartley, Lawrence Wallen, Mr. Sankofa, and William Hartley. I always try to link a different charity in the description, so go ahead and check that out. I'm also going to start having more things on my Patreon soon, so keep your eyes peeled. And as always, I'd love to know how I can be praying for you, so go ahead and drop a comment and let me know how I can do that. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video.